What I love celebrating is like some of the topics that we get to discuss with the Vine. I mean, there's topics that we get to talk about that, honestly, in the more traditional church, there's things that we kind of don't really
a little
get to
bit
talk
here and there.
Right. But with Vine, it seems like, man, if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I mean,
Or sometimes it's just what's expected. In the traditional church, they expect, the church calendar and certain sermons at certain times, where we have a lot more freedom.
Not only the topics, but what I love is the diversity that we have.
yes.
So we have four women preachers who are come from different backgrounds and they
Yes.
come from different upbringings. And just like what makes us is I just like looking on the weekly basis the different sermons. Like if it would have been just one specific person, maybe it would get onto that. I don't want to say boring, but maybe like very monotonous kind of like line. And it's very surprising to see our different experiences, our different backgrounds, and also the very deep, powerful testimonies that each of you have brought.
Welcome to the Vine United Methodist Church. I'm Sean Stanfield. I am one of the plethora of pastors that is here. Yes, I may be a little festive, but I think Carlos is too.
Yes.
We want to welcome you to this podcast as we talk about this year and the great and amazing things that God is doing in and through the Vine. And so we want to welcome you and excited to have you here with us.
We'll introduce ourselves. I'm Erin Beasley.
And Sean already introduced himself, so I guess I'm next. I'm Monica Mowdy.
And I'm Carlos Urosa.
Well, let's talk about the year that we've had together. What are you guys celebrating?
I'm celebrating there's been a lot of changes. There were changes for you this year because you're bi-vocational or bi-ministerial. You're not just with the Vine. And I am not either. I lost the churches I had, and I'm just with the Vine and the districts. So instead of 3 things, I've got 2 things. And I think that's been great for me.
And I have 2 appointments as well, but I'm also in 2 conferences. So,
I'm in 2 districts.
so there we go.
And I am here at the place where the studio is located at Woodbine United Methodist Church, and just participating in this. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah. I want to say that for me, this was the first year when I participated in the small groups gathering and having the communion, and that was an experience that I just recently had, and I had a lot of fun actually being able to be a facilitator and actually listening to in depth of some of y'all's sermons. That has been an interesting experience.
One thing that I celebrate is the communion gathering that we have online. During COVID, we had to do virtually everything online, and we just decided that because we were able to do things like communion online during COVID, that we could still do it now. And so it's just been nice to connect with our community. We have people all over the country, really, who come together for that gathering, and I celebrate how diverse the community is and what people bring for that gathering. Traditionally we use the juice and the bread, but we tell folks just use whatever you have on hand at home, and it's just nice to see the creativity that people have with the elements and just giving people room to decide for themselves what that table should look like for them. I just think that's such a blessing.
That was one of the changes that we had, is that we initially had communion on Sunday, that first Sunday morning, and then kind of our dynamic as a movement, we had to move away from Sunday mornings because most of us are committed Sunday morning to a church body, and so we moved to a more Sunday evening. How do you think that has affected kind of our core group of people who do communion with us? Do you think that sort of enhanced it? Do you think it's made it better? Have we connected with more people? Do you think that evening communion?
I think that is actually working out better for us because more people have commitments on Sunday mornings, and so more people are available to be present in the evenings. I know you all are able to be a part of that more than you were before. And that gives our community opportunities to just do other things with their Sunday. And then, they have their day and then they can join us at 4:00 on Sunday. So we've actually seen more people participating.
And as a personal note for us who have a church on Sunday mornings, know that church feels like a job, because it's not. But you're in the middle of all these things happening, and me participating in communion in the afternoon, feel like I'm actually part of the actual movement with this group, where I'm not have to worry about everything else that happens on Sunday morning in the church, but in that space. And I felt like for me that was a special thing, like I was going to church online.
That's awesome.
Great.
That's great.
I hope I get to help with communion one day. That's my biggest worship group, is 4:00 on Sunday. But we have taken some of that creativity in my worship groups, where one of my worship groups is a lot of children, and they don't like sticking bread and juice at all. They don't like that at all. So I've given the families the challenge of each week preparing what we're going to use for communion. Sometimes it's donuts and chocolate milk. Sometimes it's goldfish and gummy bears. But the point is, to them, it's representing what they need it to represent, and that it's okay because we're learning about why we do it and what it means, not what you're eating. And so it's been kind of fun to be given, I guess, freedom to have that kind of creativity.
I do have a testimony that happened in one of the days that I was leading the small groups. I just kind of tells you a little bit about the community that is working and that is becoming to just those relationships. There was a woman whose sister was in the hospital. And apparently the sister had been joining online, but she was in the hospital, like after just having surgery or something like that. And so she called the sister from the hospital, and the sister said, like, I don't know how to connect you, or maybe can dial up. And so she just put the cell phone right to the speaker. And while she was laying down in the hospital bed, she was just sharing about the power of feeling the prayers from that community. And so it was a very special moment. And sometimes it was hard to hear her, but she was able to understand what was happening in that gathering. And I felt that it was a very special and holy moment. Like, not only was this Zoom meeting, but also a phone call directly from the hospital. I think that was very powerful. And I don't know, maybe is there any other testimonies that we can raise from that has happened this year from you?
We know those two. They've been a part of the group for a long time.
Yeah, yes. They've been with us since the beginning. Yeah. And one thing that they shared with us is that they're not geographically in the same city, and so they participate for this gathering weekly, and this is the most they've really seen each other on a regular basis. And
the one group I filled in had those two ladies. I loved them. We had the best time. They're wonderful ladies.
Yes, yes. And something else that I celebrate about the Tuesday night small group is that the group has become so incredibly diverse. And I think it just makes for great conversations. Like, our conversations are so robust because people have different perspectives and different backgrounds. And I just love that we're able to have honest conversations and bring all of that diversity and still feel safe to be vulnerable, even though we're all different. We've had some really powerful conversations this year, and it's been such a blessing to have that community journey together and share their burdens, share their frustrations about things that we've been experiencing, even in the country right now, and find solutions together. Such a huge deal.
Right.
That is.
And honestly, I think I'm going to do a shameless plug for anyone who watches this podcast. I know with Wellspring, you've got multiple groups that meet together, and we've got the Tuesday night one. But if you are not a part of a branch group, it is an absolute great space, whether you do it online or in person, to connect with other people who you can share life with. And it is just, and we would be willing to help you set that up, facilitate that, just to be a part of a group of people who can just be in conversation with, to share life stories with, to be a part of what we're doing, especially here at the Vine. So
That's mostly what Wellspring's about. But what's really cool, and this is the beauty of being part of the Vine, is that I had a couple that are retired in one of my groups, and they went to the beach for a month. And they were able to watch sermons on the Vine and talk about them, or if family were down there, talk about them. And they didn't feel like they were missing out. You know, they almost feel like their church experience, their church community is expanded even further, and they have more options of ways they can connect and ways they can hear a message about God or have someone pray for them if necessary. Mm-hmm. And I need to remind them about getting in touch with the little groups, your branch groups, when they're gone like that. They do it every year because that would be a great way for them to connect in.
What I love celebrating is like some of the topics that we get to discuss with the Vine. I mean, there's topics that we get to talk about that, you know, honestly, in the more traditional church, there's things that we kind of don't really
a little bit here and there,
right? But with Vine, it seems like, man, if we want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I mean,
or sometimes it's just what's expected. In the traditional church, they expect, you know, the church calendar and certain sermons at certain times, where we have a lot more freedom.
But I think that what I appreciate on that point, Sean, is that not only the topics, but what I love is the diversity that we have.
Yes.
So we have four women preachers who are come from different backgrounds, and they come from different upbringings. And just like what makes us is I just like looking on the weekly basis, the different sermons. Like if it would have been just one specific person, maybe it would get onto that, I don't want to say boring, but maybe like very monotonous kind of like line. And it's very surprising to see our different experiences, our different backgrounds, and also the very deep, powerful testimonies that each of you have brought.
Even when we have guests come in, we invite, you know, so many other experiences in too, just from around our tradition, just to people who've experienced so many other things, stuff that are a lot more experienced than I would be. So.
Yeah. I love that we are so aware with our gifts, but also our limitations. And I think we've done some really great work at identifying other voices and conversation partners that we can bring in for these different topics.
I'll tell you one thing a lady told me. She said, the one thing I like about the Vine and particularly Wellspring is that we meet them where they are. Like, you know, when you go to church, you go to church and you get what you get when you're there. And if that doesn't suit you, then you go to a different church. Where with us, we're constantly evolving and changing and growing and doing our best to address the topics that people need based on the conversations we have with them. And one lady said, I love that because I know that it's going to come to me. And, you know, I've got one group that meets Sunday at 4, Tuesday in the morning, Tuesday at night, Wednesday at noon. I've got them all over the map. I've got another one coming in. It'll be daytime. And they're just all, but then they come together. Like Sean said, we're having, I'll tell you the title. We wanted to do a Christmas or Christmas Eve service, but we don't do things at typical times. We do them when people will be there. And one of the women in my group looked at me and she said, well, we're all adult enough to know Christ wasn't born actually in December anyway. So we can have a service whenever we want. So that's the unofficial title is we know that he wasn't born in December, so we're going to have a Christmas service with him. So it's a Sunday candlelight service before Christmas. But everybody can be there.
What I love, too, is that I had a conversation this week with another group that's going to start a branch group. And one of the things they highlighted was they needed a space where the people that they were starting a group with could ask questions. And they felt like the more traditional space was not an atmosphere where questions could be really allowed. And that the Vine branches could be a space where questions to come out, and they may not really get all the answers, but at least they would be comfortable to ask questions. And I kind of think about that too. You know, that's kind of where even my own kids are at. You know, that they like to ask lots of questions, and a place that want a safe space where they can ask questions about faith and stuff. So,
When I think I'm reflecting, we are part of the Tennessee Western Kentucky Conference, and we've been giving this discipleship priorities from the cabinet and the bishop. And I've been just thinking a lot about, because this past week we had church conference, and the district superintendent tells us all these things about like, hey, you're meeting this, or just want to remind you that these are going to be the conference discipleship priorities. When I think about what we've done this year with the themes, with the sermons, they are all connecting with that. Yeah. And so I think that is also maybe something that we need to highlight as a resource for people to keep growing in mental health, professions of faith, and a culture of call, and dismantling racism and prejudice. And so I think that the material that has been put together, it allows to guide us to that essence of the conference discipleship. And that's
I kind of felt like when we found out about the discipleship priorities that we were already living into them as best as we could. I think it's really impressive that you were able to name off all of them at one time.
I missed one. What was the other one? It's a cultural call, right? Cultural call discipleship. Yeah. I'm missing one.
Is it spiritual leadership?
Spiritual leadership.
And dismantling racism.
Yeah, and dismantling racism. So
I'm so impressed.
Yeah. Well, I know. Maybe we need to create like a list of like the sermons that we have throughout the year that connects with one of the different areas.
We should do that. We should.
Or maybe when we come up with a new series, find out, just make sure it connects with
put a label
one.
To say.
Some of them would connect with more than one.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Easily. Like the one that we just finished that was, should I stay Christian? That connected in so many ways. And I got a lot of comments from people in my groups about that one, because that's a taboo subject in traditional church sometimes. Correct. You're afraid to say, I'm not sure this is where I'm at or what I want to do or be. And I don't feel like I can ask the questions and have the conversations I need to have. Yeah. And I felt like that a lot of the questions were addressed, and it opened a door for people to say, hey, and I feel like people who watched it who have questions will feel like they can contact any of us and say, I want to talk about that more.
Yeah. But that question is so real for people, especially in the church. And I think folks will quietly struggle with that question and never share that with anyone. And instead of wrestling with it in the church, they may just decide to leave the church. So I think it's really healthy.
There's a lot of shame packed around that. Right. A lot of shame, and it's hard to sit in a pew when you feel such shame, when it's as simple as being able to have a conversation with someone and work through and try to together find answers where there's answers, and sit comfortably with questions when there's still questions.
This year, but one of the sermons that you have to deliver or share, because I also think that it's been just for us as well. Like you said, sometimes there are not sermons that you will prepare in a traditional church setting unless there's an intentionality of bringing in a specific theme. But have you been?
There's a pass when you're a pastor in a traditional church, because you're not going to always challenge yourself. Oh, yeah, if something's going to be a challenge, you're like, we're not going to do that. Where, when we're presented with a series, I got to pick one of them, and I guess I don't have to. I guess I could say no, but I wouldn't do that.
I don't know. I can't remember. There was a couple.
I've had a couple that I can't remember.
You had one in mind.
I think just in general, a series that challenged me was the We're Sorry series that we did, the first one this year.
That was good.
And
that was tough.
I felt that it was necessary for us to delve into that topic, because there's so many things that the historical church has done to cause harm to people. And whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we are very much a byproduct of the church's past. And I just felt like we needed to be brave and apologize on behalf of the church and have conversations about how we can be better and nurture people better. Anytime we have to say something that is controversial, it's difficult, It does require a lot of courage from us. And so we did get some pushback online.
A little bit.
Just slightly.
That never happens.
We had a podcast too.
We did. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so everyone was not happy about that one.
Nope.
And while we have committed ourselves to saying hard things, it is still challenging to know that you're ruffling feathers and when you want to keep the peace, it's difficult to
but sometimes
journey through that, but it's necessary,
sometimes keeping peace is also turning tables.
Truth.
Well, we're not told to keep peace. It says make peace. And making peace
two
makes
different
you,
things.
it's two different things, and you've got to be active
Right.
in that.
Right.
And I have had some sermons, I couldn't name to you what they were, that challenged me. And I can even think of one where I was half tempted to call and say, can I switch? But every time I've gone ahead and just really dug down, did the research, did the prayerful work to work through that, I have grown from it. So it's benefited me to have those sermons that are tough and not chicken out.
It also helped to have a calming face like Chris recording when you're about to do a tough sermon. You see Chris's face and just like, it's going to be okay.
Well, sometimes Chris can be distracting.
What are y'all talking about? What Chris are y'all talking about?
No one's here.
That's true.
Y'all get a different Chris than I do.
One time, Chris and I both had the giggles, and he was just standing in front of the camera, just kind of smirking. I was like, dude, I just need you to move. Like, just get away from the camera.
I think you need to come in
because I
camera.
can't.
You need to come into the square just to peek
Y'all,
in. To know who
y'all
Chris
should
is.
be here when we're recording.
Yes.
It was Chris goes one day, he goes, all right, I need you to do a welcome. And I'm looking at him, and he's all serious, and I go, how y'all doing? And he just fell out.
We love you, Chris.
Yes, we love you, Chris.
We do. We do love
Love
you.
you, Chris.
We love you.
And we love you, Nancy. You're not here, but
And Lynn.
And Lynn.
And Lynn.
All right, so serious question. Monica, Aaron. So we at times do get negative feedback.
Yes, we do.
How well do y'all take it?
I've been
Well,
in ministry 21 years.
yeah.
And I've not had a lot of negative feedback in regards to the content of my sermons or the degree of my pastoral care. Most of it has been directed at my gender and at even what I wear, even if it's not a clergy collar. I mean, it's like that skirt's too long, that shirt's too matronly, that skirt's too short, why do you wear heels? Why don't you wear heels? I mean, I want to ask you two, do you guys get critiqued on your clothing when you're pastors? Because I
Nope,
sure have.
not
my
at all.
entire-
Oh my gosh.
I like my snowman suit.
Yeah, and I feel all of that. I've experienced all of that too, and it's been difficult for me navigating all of that as a younger woman. I was 22 when I went to seminary, and so I'm still coming of age and still trying to embrace all of that and embrace my youth and just find myself and all of that and find my voice and all of that. And I'd get comments about my bold lipstick and my stiletto heels, but I still think, well, I'm in my 20s and I'm going to look like I'm in my 20s until I'm not. So, if you're uncomfortable, you'll just have to deal with that. But I'm going to live my best life. I think too, just with the gender issue, I dealt with that before I started my ministry journey. I made my peace with it, and honestly, the comments that we get sometimes online, it does not faze me. I'm sure it doesn't faze you either.
Not at all.
We're just living into what we've been called to do, and our work is incredibly life-giving for us.
And that's what keeps me okay with all of it is a very wise gentleman pastor. When I very first started, after a man walked up to me in my face after a service and said, "You'd be a good preacher if you weren't a girl." He came to me and he said, "Your ministry is shown by your fruit. You just keep doing what you do, and as long as fruit is produced, then that's between you and God, and no one can tell God who he can call to ministry."
Exactly.
And so if anything ever hits just a little hard, I remember that, and I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I always remember the resurrection when Jesus rose and he returned. He found the women You know, and there's one account, I believe, where he approached the women first.
Amen.
You know, and he gave the women the same instructions that he gave the men to share the gospel.
Amen.
So if Jesus is affirming of women, I think everyone else should be.
Amen.
So
Yes.
And regardless of,
But also, I wonder about like our society and where we find ourselves with. I guess my question is whether, you know, when you're in a traditional church, you come on Sunday mornings. I know that there's still a lot of people that have very strong comments, and they might have the audacity to tell you, like you
where
heard
I
it.
am, yes.
And I know that some people may not say that, but I think that the what is the monster of the internet in a way? It's like people have this boldness to say it because they are not saying it face to face.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, but I'm going more with, well, until I'm not able to hear criticism or to know that there could be a relationship for the person to get to know me and to beyond what this 5 minutes or 8 minute sermon that we can do. It's like they don't see all the dimension aspects of what the minister goes throughout, you know, a daily life. And so I'm not very bothered. I mean, I've heard a lot of racist things, and
I get those
to
too.
me, it's just more about just keep them going because I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And it's calling, right? So
I pay zero attention to online comments, zero, because to me, you said the proper word, relationship. The words that would hurt me would be someone I had a relationship with.
exactly.
But if I don't even know you, and I know you don't even know me, and you're basing what you're saying on what you probably haven't even done a full view of the whole service, then that comment doesn't carry enough weight to be damaging.
Another thing that I'm driven by is the fact that representation matters, you know, and I know that because I'm in my position as a clergy person, I'm able to connect with people who share my identity, who may also feel called to the ministry, and just me simply being present and fulfilling this role as a pastor could be the thing that empowers someone else to follow their call into ministry.
I wished I'd seen more women in ministry before, and Native Americans in ministry before I went into ministry. It was all new to me, and I'd had a role model or a model to look at or look up to.
So what are you all hoping for 2026?
I'm hoping for discovering leadership from within. So in the case of the Vine, maybe some more people, lay people stepping up to lead branch groups. And not that we can't or don't want to, but because empowering people to serve in the role of being the priesthood of all believers is something that's important to me. And in my context, unless I want to lead 7 worship groups every week, you know, it's important for me to empower leadership from within and still bring them together and start making our plans for the future. I've taken on this role that was unintended with Wellspring when it was first drafted, and I'm kind of like a parish pastor for an entire county for people who feel more comfortable with a Wesleyan theology than another type theology. And I'll get calls from people I don't even know. And my grandmother is not doing well, and she really wants someone to come visit her, and she doesn't have a pastor because she needs someone that's got more of an open Wesleyan style of theology. And so that's what I've become to people in a county, and that takes up a lot of time. And it's wonderful time. It's filling time, but empowering laity will help me there as well. And I'm sure you guys feel the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we're actually going to do a series next year on spiritual gifts, and we want to spend some time with folks to help them discern what their gifts are. Mm-hmm. And after that, we'll have this launching where we send people out and encourage them to do the thing that they feel led to do by the Spirit. But we're hoping at that time that we'll be able to identify some folks that would be able to take the lead with starting their own groups where they are.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think for me, I know that initially my role coming in was to be able to work the Spanish section as well of Lavinia. I know that 2025 has been a very challenging year in many aspects, personally and just in ministry, with everything that is going in with our community that predominantly I serve. And so my hope is that in 2026 we'll be able to do that, sort of like to be able to bring the integration and to do some materials that we can reach some of our Spanish-speaking community in different areas. And I just think that is about just inviting people that there's no excuse to find a connection with a community of faith. Like there is an opportunity through the Vine to connect and to get to know some people. I think that ultimately our goal is that people also may find a place that they're connecting physically, if that's something that is there, if they're in a transition during a time of maybe your church is no longer there, or you are in this time of discovery, and maybe we help you, point you out into a place that you can get connected with your hands and your feet and working in the community. So I think it's just this, I don't know, it's kind of like, I'm trying to find the words, but this hybrid movement that, and we even saw it in the name that we changed, right? Like we are a spiritual, what is our tagline?
A digital church with
digital
physical
church.
A digital
expressions.
church with what?
Physical
With physical
expression.
expression. So there you go.
Yeah, I think for me, a couple different things, kind of tagging on to the branches increasing. I would like to see us, and this is probably more specific, a direct connection to more of the Wesley foundations. Because I think one of the things, there's a kind of a lost aspect, especially with students that have already graduated, because there's kind of that lost piece that a lot of them feel like, okay, I don't fully connect with the physical church anymore, and so what do I do? But a lot of them are staying connected to those Wesley foundations, and so they don't know what to do or where to go, where to continue to get spiritually fed. So what if we intentionally started connecting them to the Vine and let them form their own branches? And so that can be a big piece. And so we're trying to have conversations with that. The second thing for me, I think, is that how do we somehow, some way, have the Vine have a missional aspect? I'm not saying that we could, all come together in one place, but what if somehow we all partner in some kind of feeding ministry in your local context, wherever you are, and take a picture. Hey, we're feeding here, send a picture in, we're feeding here or there. But look what the whole Vine Collective is doing in the local context of wherever you are. I just think being hands and feet wherever we are as a community. So, I'd like to see some of that.
I would like to see a place where we start. I know our sermons and our lessons and everything we do is rooted in Wesleyan theology, but start using language that helps people learn. And not in a Bible study way, and not but help. I think it's important for people to understand why this feels different than maybe the church they left that didn't feel good, and help them be able to name that and understand why, and that it is rooted in Scripture and it is rooted in sound theology, that it's not just something we've decided to do to make you feel good. And I've had that request from people. Tell me how, show me where that comes from, what you're saying.
I see.
And I think we could do that.
Yeah.
I would just start by saying one of these things is not like
the other. One of these things is not like the other.
Aaron?
I didn't get the memo. So.
That was
Here we
Sean's responsibility. So
one of these things is not like the other.
But I'm still in the Christmas spirit, so
You
that's
are.
all that truly
Actually,
matters.
you're probably more in the Christmas spirit than most of us.
I believe I am. I'm one of those put up the Christmas tree on November 1st. So
Yeah, mine just
People.
got up.
You're happy. We
I'm-
take this
I'm
and all of a
thrilled.
sudden we're like,
We go home and take off and we're
If it helps, Chris is not in it either. He's over
Yes.
here in a blue
That's true.
shirt.
can you jump
That's
in
true.
into the
Come here,
frame?
come say
You need
hi,
to
Chris.
show your
Say,
face.
hello, Chris.
So people know who Chris is because
Here
we've been
comes
talking
Chris.
We
about
keep saying Chris.
as it is the Holy
you
Spirit.
can be back here. Here you are.
On some of the cameras.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Oh.
Hey, Chris.
Chris.
You probably know him from everything.
Yeah, if it wasn't for
conference.
Chris, it wouldn't. The Vine
Yes.
wouldn't be what the Vine is sometimes because
Exactly.
video is a large component of what we do, and
Goodness.
trust me, we all need editing.
Do we take suggestions?
yes.
I know that there's a difference between
Yes.
hate mail
Yes. Which we get that.
and suggestions. So
Yeah. So kind of as we wrap up, we would love your suggestions. Suggestions on podcast kind of comments or things we should talk about.
Sermon series ideas.
series.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Studies, book series, anything you just send it into us. Comment on this podcast. Say, hey, we would love to hear about this. Drop it in there. Send
tell us if you're using any of this material in your church. Like if you know anybody that is using, listening or watching, that would be also a way for us to know like who else is participating.
Everyone we know knows someone who is seeking. They're not in church. They haven't found a church. They're kind of looking, but they're not looking hard. And I know you mamas and grandmas are out there worrying about them. And, connect them to us and let them see if they find something that connects for them here with us. And it's a good way to find Jesus without experiencing shame or guilt or whatever it was that pulled you from the church.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
happy holidays.
Happy.
Thanks for being with us.
Wish you a Merry
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I'm Sean Stanfield. I'm one of the pastors here at the Vine United Methodist Church, and we're just excited that you're with us today. We are a digital church with physical expressions. A physical expression means that we also do what we call branch groups. These are physical groups out in the community where you exist. We want to make sure that you are connected in spaces, and you can either be in home groups, you can be in third spaces like coffee shops or restaurants and those kind of things, because we're not designed to do life alone. So I want to encourage you, say, hey, where do I find a branch group in my area? We would help you with that. Or maybe you're the one that says, I want to start a branch group in my area, and I have people who want to come alongside me. Reach out to us, and we will help get you through the training and help guide you and what that would be like. Come and join a branch today.